Hello.
Okay.
I am here with Marica, and she is with Mariquita Creative Studio. She is a brand and web designer that works with female coaches and entrepreneurs, and she helps bring their brand to life authentically and creates like amazing visuals to help them tell their story. Would you like to talk a little bit more about your business?
Yeah, sure. So it started actually as an idea, because I needed something that made me a little bit more autonomous in a way, because I live a little bit far from home, and I wanted to do something that could allow me to travel and also to visit my parents and my family, my friends, in my home country, that's Italy, whenever I wanted. So yeah, I a little bit researched what was possible to do online, and basically I realized that I really like graphic design, and so I started to study a little bit more about that during the lockdown this year actually. And yeah, I fell in love with brand design and web design because I really like to create something that can help people also connect with their ideal clients in this particular topic, but also that is like visuals that are able to in a way tell the story of the brands, so speak for them and say, hey, I'm here for you and I'm the right one and this is me and this is what I do. So yeah, that I even summarizes that.
Yeah. So your business started in lockdown?
Yeah, more or less. I launched my Instagram account in at the end of March, more or less, of this year, so 2021, and my website at the end of April. So I studied during the lockdown because I had so much time to spend on, my things, not going out, etc. I needed to do something, or yeah, I could get crazy in a way. Um, yeah, so to make myself a little bit useful, I started to study that, and then I decided, okay, let's try that, let's do this. And yeah, now here we are. So
Oh, that's awesome. I really love stories like that because I don't know, like we were really experiencing something that was life-changing for a lot of
yeah,
people. And you really took the opportunity to change your life, become more
yeah,
autonomous, be able to travel, because that's like a big thing for me too. I'm not living in the state that I grew up in. I'm living a couple states over because I
okay.
wanted the ability to travel. And that was a big reason why I started my business too. So I totally understand.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad. Yeah, I think that the mindset after the Corona situation just changed, like from one way to the other, and
Yeah.
that's also a good thing in a way. So, yeah,
Yeah, I totally agree.
yeah.
So when you start working with someone with their branding, how do you help them discover their like authentic brand? How do you help someone kind of not feel like they have to be like everyone else?
So, basically, what I like to do every time that I start with a new client is to dive in the values of the brand. So, basically, what the story behind the brand, behind the name of the brand, what do they want to convey with their message and the values? What's the personality that they have, and what's the personality that the brand should have? Because it's not always the same, but I mean, it's also important to know in order to a little bit convey the message.
Mhm.
And to do that, usually I use a questionnaire. It has quite a lot of question actually, and I always suggest take your time. I have no rush in this. This is a very important process, not just for me, but also for the client per se, because they can actually dive into their brand and discover what the values are. And also very important thing is knowing who the target audience is. So they have to know, or they have to, it's very suggested to know who they're targeting, because in this way then it's also easier to actually create something that conveys the message. So yeah, it's more a client work. I just help with some guidelines, but it's a process that has to be done by the client. I of course cannot say, okay, your values are, I don't know, simplicity, so let's go with that. No, it doesn't work like this. Would be easier for me maybe, but it doesn't work like that. So yeah, it's really a process. So that they need to follow and to discover also their brands.
Oh,
Yeah.
and the questionnaire too. I think that's really cool because probably a lot of people have not asked themselves those questions, and it's really ambiguous.
Yeah, that's the thing. No, I had some clients actually that asked me, I actually don't know what to reply to this question because I never thought about it. And I was like, yeah, no worries. I mean, just again, take your time and think about it and be as, I don't know, as clear as possible. Like go by feeling actually, because this is your business, this is your brand, so it has to reflect what you are in a way. So yeah, it's very interesting actually also seeing some of the answers. Like for example, one of the questions is that I really like, if your brand was character, who would have been like. And I had one that was very nice. I'm a fan of the Lord of the Rings, and this girl replied, for me it's like the girl from the elf, what's the name again now?
Oh,
ah
is it
um
Galadriel? That one?
yeah,
Okay.
Galadriel. Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh my god, yeah, you just took the point. It was, wow, just like beautiful. And yeah, it's an experience, kind of. It's a process again, so it's something that it's really fun in a way, and you can understand a lot about the brands.
So how did you land on making a questionnaire? Because, or did it like iterate and change every time you kind of
No, right now it's like that. I actually started with very easy peasy questions at the beginning because I had to do a little bit more experience for myself too. But then it developed a little bit more also in order for me to understand better the brand. So I tried to find some questions a little bit more particular and specific. So I ended up having this questionnaire right now with also this character, these values, and stuff, questions. And but the idea actually came while studying for building a business in brand design and web design,
Mhm.
because of course I couldn't be able one day to wake up and say, you know what, today we create a questionnaire, like yeah, just for fun. No, it was a process for me.
And it makes your life so much easier too.
Yeah, absolutely, because that helps me also afterwards as a blueprint for the whole process afterwards, and I can kind of translate it into visual, first with a mood board.
Mhm.
So yeah, with images, and then from there it's easier also to find the path for the designing process.
Okay.
Yeah,
So do you
absolutely.
typically make the mood board? Do you create logos and then like graphics for people to use on their website and then social media as well? Or like templates for graphics that people can use?
No, I create custom logos and brand identities. So what I deliver basically is the old versions for web applications and also print.
Okay.
So they can use them on websites, on social media, but also on labels, for example, on letters, on whatever they have in mind. So t-shirts. for example. Yeah. I love t-shirts, like personalized t-shirt. It's like, oh my God. Yeah.
That's
So
really cool. Yeah. And that makes me curious. So I was thinking of like when people always are talking about you have to stay on brand, you know?
yeah.
And a lot of people I think tend to think that branding is just your logo and then fonts that your designer picks out for you, and that's not necessarily the case.
No. That's a kind of the starter pack, let's say. So the logos, the color, and the typography. That's a starter pack. You can, of course, go with that. There's nobody that says that it's wrong. It's just, I think that with your brand, you have to create an experience for your audience and for your future or potential clients. You have to be able to be recognizable by them, by your audience, and create a kind of authority. And to do that, you need to be consistent. You cannot just jump from one color to the other, like with no reason, or just change every week a kind of typography or patterns or whatever it is. You have to create an experience for your audience, and even just using always the same colors. That usually I would suggest 4 or 5 colors maximum. Then you create actually recognition of your brand in your client's brain, in your audience. When they will see, for example, a post of yours with your color, with your branded colors, they will associate this color to you. And that's very, very helpful because it's also part of your marketing in a way. So it's everything connected. It's beautiful, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you ask people, like, how do you help people discover what colors encapsulate their brand? Because when I got started, I like hunted around for a designer, and the person that I talked to, I thought he was great. This was like years ago at this point. And I was telling him like how I wanted people to feel. So my colors are like a nice, calm, like green, and then also a nice yellow. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
welcoming and relaxing. And I was wondering, how do you help people kind of figure out what kind of emotions they want to portray?
Yeah, that's again part of the questionnaire in a way. There's just a question about the values and the feelings that they want to convey through their brand.
Mhm.
And usually the colors come out from the mood board already. But of course, there's a kind of color psychology behind it. So, as you said, with green, it's calm, it's very peaceful and clean. So you have these kind of feelings when you look at it. While yellow, it's fun, it's welcoming, it's optimistic. So um, you have always to consider these factors. So if the brand wants to be, I don't know, luxurious, so a little bit elegant, then you can go, for example, with a violet, with a purple, because that's the color of luxury, basically.
Yeah.
Or fun fact, for example, most of the brands that have something to do with food, they use a lot of red because that conveys hungry. So when you look at something, no, it's true, like McDonald's, for example, it's red and yellow, right?
Yeah.
And red, it's something that conveys, that makes you feel hungry in a way. It's crazy.
It really is.
So yeah, you have to consider these little things, but very, very important.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There's so much that goes on behind the scenes with like every piece of marketing that is thrown at us every day. And when we become more aware, we're like, oh, I understand what's happening. And you can see
Yeah,
it and see how it's helpful for the most part with what they're trying to do. And how long,
absolutely.
is your process? So from start to finish with when you're working on clients or working on client work?
Yeah. As brand and web design have slightly different process for branding and for web design, but basically the main steps are the research and the discovery of the brand.
Mhm.
Then there's a visual representation, as I said, with the mood board and all this little stuff that will be the blueprint for the whole process in design. And then I start scratching. So I drew on paper first.
Oh,
Yeah, some ideas. Maybe, yeah, I could do like this little thing and with this, but then change and blah blah. It's very fun also this process. And after that, I create some concepts, at least for logo, actually also for web design. I create a kind of prototype, let's say, and I send the first file for revision. After that, usually I ask to choose 1, 2 options so we can work on them. And for example, for the logo design and branding, it can be the primary and secondary logo, for example. And then from there, maybe we can do some changes in the imagery, in the typography, and then the color, because the color come after. Many people think, okay, first I choose the typography, then I choose the colors, and then I do the logo. But in reality, it's very important, I think, when you create the concept of the logo, that it's black and white,
Mm.
or anyway with no color, like in grayscale,
Mhm.
because you can focus more on the design itself and not all the other things. Yeah, so once everything is finalized, so the client is happy with the deliverables and the logo, the prototype of the website. Then for brand design, I prepared the folder on Google Drive and I send it. And then there will be the launching part where we say, you know that there will be the brand reveal. Be stay tuned. It's very fun also that.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
exciting actually, because you see that it comes alive. And while for the web design, it's a little bit different, because then I start to work on the platform. First, I create the prototype on Adobe XD. That's beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful platform. I suggest that to everyone who works in this field. And then I usually work on WordPress.
Mhm.
Actually, I'm also starting to start working a little bit on Squarespace, but I prefer WordPress because it's a little bit more personalizable, and yeah, there's more freedom. It's a little bit difficult at the beginning. I'm not gonna lie. There are many headaches that come with it, but yeah, it's very fun. So, and that's actually it. Once the prototype on XD it's ready, and then transferred, and then recreated on the WordPress platform, then it's ready to launch. So it's, yeah, very easy peasy.
Oh. Do you use Divi on WordPress?
No, I use Elementor.
You use Elementor? Okay.
Yeah.
I use that a little bit, but I mainly use Divi on WordPress when I use WordPress. Yeah.
Yeah. I was a little bit torn at the beginning, I must say, between Divi and Elementor. Divi, it's beautiful. Like there's also for people that wants to use templates, for example, it's awesome. There are some beautiful templates on Divi. But I don't know, with Elementor, I felt a little bit more freedom in a way. There are a little bit more features and they're also developing it. So I hope that the nice features that are now in Divi and not in Elementor will come also to Elementor one day.
Yes.
But it's a little bit, I don't know, I prefer Elementor, to be honest. But my personal opinion, then of course, Divi, it's also a great, great tool to use. Yeah, absolutely.
I think they definitely have their pros and cons. And
Yeah.
I just started using Divi because I like looked at all of them. There's like X theme, that's a big one, Divi and Elementor. And then I just started using Divi and I was like, this is the one I'm going to invest all the time in.
Yeah, yeah. So because you actually invest a lot of time to learn these tools. So it's not like, okay, I just download the Elementor Pro and, now I'm a pro too.
Yeah,
No, it doesn't work like that.
no,
I wish.
yes. So when you completed building the websites in Elementor for your clients, do you teach them how to use it or do people
Yeah,
just okay.
yeah. I prepare a kind of mini tutorial.
Oh,
We have a call, first of all, so I can share my screen and we record it. And then I explain everything on the dashboard, what is for what, and how to customize posts, for example, or pages with text and images and all these little things. Then also for the opt-in integration, how it works. I mean, it's not something difficult, but it's essential to know, and not everybody is tech. So there has to be some sort of guidelines, I think.
oh, for sure.
And in general, anyway, I prepare also kind of website, the workbook, not workbook, but a guidebook. So with all the different things like explained and put on paper. So it's very clear. And anyway, if they will have a problem in the future, they can always contact me and I'm always available actually. But I always try to make the process as easy as I can.
Same. Is
Yeah.
I find a lot of the people that I work with, they have big fear of breaking something. And I'm like, even if you do, it's okay. Like we
Yeah.
it can be fixed. And I do the same thing with teaching because like it's leading from this area of abundance. Like I want you to understand and feel comfortable, not like
Yeah.
I keep all the information for myself. Like if people feel competent, I think that leads into feeling competent in other areas of their work as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, mm, you cannot know everything, right? So if you go to an expert, I think it's a good thing that you also learn from them, right?
For sure.
So, like, use me. I'm here for you. You know, it doesn't make sense to ask me for creating a website and then trying to figure out all by your own. I mean, I'm the shortcut. So please ask me whatever you need, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think some people, I don't know if they're scared to ask, or maybe they don't feel expert enough to say, I will ask her for some help.
Mhm.
But actually, I mean, there are so many things I don't know that I always have to ask, I always have to research. And when I find someone that knows more than me, oh my God, I'm so happy. Like, please, please enlighten me, you know?
Yes. That is how I feel searching Google. Like I've become an expert Googler because there's always like a fringe problem. You're like,
Yeah,
okay, this is new, but I'll figure it out.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Of course. Is there anything else that you'd like to share? Maybe some advice for people who are just getting started with branding and or really a business, and they're trying to figure things out for themselves, or like what would be the best route plan of action, because there's so much information on the internet, it's overwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I talk from experience because then there are so many different paths that one can take. But for me was finding an online course. Sorry, I have people here going around with bicycles. I'm sorry. um, anyway, I found a course actually where it was everything together. So if you try to figure every little things out by your own, you will get crazy. After a while, you just get so overwhelmed and burned out that it's not worth it.
Mhm.
So if you want to start a business, yes, at the beginning, you will have so many information, but once you find a person that you feel expert, that you are willing to put your money in it, even just go for it, because it's very, very important and it helps you in so many ways. It save you time, efforts, overwhelming, and everything. Um, for starting a brand instead, that's a little bit easier in a way, because it's something that you create, right? So if you have an idea of a business, just go for it. If you like it, just go for it. But when you create the actual brand identity, I would say don't go for also DIY everything by your own. You can kind of DIY your logo, no big deal. Then you can always adjust it a little bit. But I hear people that try to DIY their website. Don't do that. Please don't do that, because it's so much work, and there are people that study for it, and it could be so much easier if you ask and you keep working on the important stuff that it's like running your business, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So that would be my piece of advice. Always ask for help when you cannot figure it out by yourself.
Yes. Yes, I think that's great, because we can get very overwhelmed and then just stop altogether after a
Absolutely.
certain point.
Absolutely. That's a lesson that I've learned too. So I put myself into.
I think we've all been there at some point. We're like, okay, it's time for some help.
Yeah.
I need
Yeah.
to stop struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If not, you just say, okay, you know what? I give up. I don't do that anymore. No, keep going, but in the right way.
Yes, for sure. And where can everyone find you? And do you have anything special that's going to be launching in your business soon?
Actually, yes. So you can find me or on Instagram, also on Facebook. I'm not using it so much right now because I'm not a so social media person by myself. So I'm trying to focus on one platform at the time. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry,
It's okay.
Okay. Now on Instagram, I have an account, Mariquita Creative.
Mhm.
And I have also a website, mariquitacreative.com, where you can see all my work, my who I am. There are all my packages and all the ways you can contact me. And something that's coming soon, it's some freebies actually. I'm working on them, but they're very cool. It's a couple of freebies. I don't want to spoil too much because it's also a surprise kind of thing. I hope by the end of August they will be available, and I'm also planning to restructure a little bit my packages, so add a little bit more value and maybe add also like create new ones, including some social media design and more marketing collateral design. So it will be very cool.
Yeah,
They will help a lot expanding a brand. So
yeah.
I am very excited about it.
Yeah, it sounds great. And I will link all of that in the show notes so people can know where to find you and make it very easy.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then if they are interested in getting in contact with you, they can, which would be great.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you so much for chatting with me today.
That was very, very lovely. I really enjoyed that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, sure.
Bye.
Bye.